indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on our agenda is a public hearing regarding revisions to the Olmsted County Subsurface Sewage Treatment Systems Ordinance.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Dave Dunn, Olmsted County Housing and Planning Director, and I'll be introducing Don Van Koolen, who will be walking through the proposed changes tonight that we'll be talking about.
Yep.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm Don Van Koolen, Olmsted County Planning Department. So we have the slides. Thank you. So we're proposing a couple changes in the septic system ordinance. Can you go to the next slide, please? So two changes to the ordinance are being proposed. Next. So the first change is the ordinance, to give a little history on the ordinance. It was adopted around 1962. In 1988, the county proposed or introduced the septic design rules requiring a licensed professional engineering, geology, soil science, or hydrogeologist to be able to design septics. That's when that part went into the ordinance, just for some history. In 2015, we adopted a higher septic system design qualifications, and we added the advanced SSTS designer's license in addition to those other rules, meaning you could design with the advanced license or with the other categories, but you still had to have the state designer's license. We've been notified by the state that we are no longer consistent with the state requirements, so that's why we're proposing the new, one of the changes that we wrote tonight. Next slide. So this is what we're proposing to remove. We're proposing to remove this whole section. There is another section in the ordinance that describes the state rules and the licensing criteria, and this is only in the amendments to the adopted standard section, so it's not required to be there at all anymore. There's another paragraph, a couple pages up that refer to it. So this is the state rules. In the licensing criteria, a local unit of government is not authorized to require additional local licenses, local registrations, local certificates, or other similar professional credentials to perform SSTS work. So that's the state background why we can't have that in our ordinance. So the next addition change we're proposing is within city limits, all applicants for SSTS located within city limits must secure any required approvals for a new or replacement SSTS from the city or township is what we're removing prior to securing a permit from the department. Townships do not have jurisdiction within the city limits, so therefore we're removing that section. Those are the only two changes that we're proposing at this time. And is that the last slide? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Does we have any questions?
Any questions? Okay, I guess we'll open the public hearing then.
Thank you.
Would anybody like to speak for or against these changes to the ordinance? Second time, would anybody like to speak for or against changes to this ordinance? It's your last chance. You want to speak for or against the changes to this ordinance?
Anybody online?
Is there anybody online?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, the public hearing, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is closed. Comments, motions?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the proposed ordinance change.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Thank you. Okay. Next up, consent agenda. Approve the Olmsted County Board minutes from April 1st. Approve gambling permits for Viola Gopher count. Approve the advancement of the 2026 state aid construction funds. Approve joint powers agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation. Award contract for Oxbow Park Campground Project. Review and approve final 2025 federal priorities for Olmsted County. Transfer excess municipal funds.
Mr. Chair, I would move to table item G, transfer excess municipal funds and replace it with a substitute resolution pertaining to the approval of a grant renewal to Olmsted County for fraud prevention investigation services.
Okay, can I get a second to that?
Second.
Page? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Just to explain maybe for the public, this,
Okay.
since we added this to the agenda, this is simply a grant request for $163,000 per year for 2 years to fund 2 fraud investigators within our Housing and Human Services Family Support and Assistance Division.
Okay, all right. All in favor of the change, say aye. Aye. Okay, now I need a motion to approve it as changed.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries. All right. Now, we are up to the discussion decision, which is to fill the vacancy in the office of Olmsted County Attorney by appointment.
Chairman Tyne, Commissioners, my name is Travis Granzi. I'm the Olmsted County Administrator. Back on January the 30th, Mark Ostrom submitted a letter announcing his intent to retire at the end of March, and this board made a decision to move forward with an appointment process to select the next county attorney. It'll be seated until January of 2027, with an election occurring next November, November of 2026 then, to fill that seat on a more permanent basis. You directed staff then to move forward with recruiting candidates, and you all then conducted some interviews with those candidates. And so we're here tonight for you to make a decision in regards to how you'd like to move forward.
Okay. All right, so I'm looking for a motion to fill this position.
Mr. Chair, I would move the appointment of Mr. Michael Walters as Olmsted County Attorney.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Congratulations, Michael. If you'd like to say something, you can.
Thank you. I don't have too much to say other than to say thank you. Thank you for the faith, the trust that you're placing in me. Working for this office, representing the people of Olmsted County, is one of the great privileges of my life. And I thank you for your trust, and I feel it's my duty and my mission to repay that trust throughout my career. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does he get sworn in?
Travis, when's the swearing in?
It's the 21st, April 21st.
21st, okay. All right. All right, so now I need a motion to go into recess for a closed session regarding the former Seneca Foods property solicitation.
Move to recess to discuss the Seneca food property.
Second. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Mr. Chair, we'd ask again, as we usually do, just can you read the parcel numbers, just so the parcels have been identified that the
Okay,
county
so
board's
we
going
got
to
a
discuss?
motion, a second to go into closed session to discuss the possible sale of property tax ID number 64.11.11.079469. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. You got a 5-minute bathroom break, I promised it.
They just moved to adjourn?
We gotta go through our reports. Greg's got a PowerPoint he wants to.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you.
It's not gonna be that exciting. Okay, we are resuming our county board meeting. Next on the agenda are board and committee reports. We'll start with Greg.
Oh, well, thank you very much. in front of you, I think that you have the PowerPoint, and they're bringing the PowerPoint up right now. And I've titled this House File 2725, but there is a Senate file companion that goes with this, but it's the same thing. Just a few comments about this before we look at the slides on here, is that the state of Minnesota did start on a plan for aging 5 years ago in 2020, and it was called the 2030 plan. Nothing has been done on the 2030 plan, so we're going to get to 2030 without ever having even acted on anything that was out of the legislature 5 years ago. And I think that the board knows that I've been talking about this issue for quite a while, and I've been aging all those years while I have been talking about it.
We noticed.
Yes, I suppose. And our esteemed chair just had a birthday, so he's a lot older as well. But the idea, of course, is that the entire state of Minnesota is aging, and that this is a result of a group of very committed people to establishing something for the state of Minnesota that would have a strategic plan. And so the last 17 months, I have attended a task force established by the state legislature to look at this, and out of this task force came the proposal that you see in House File 2725. So you can go to the next slide there, and I'll just say why I believe that this is important. If you can skip to the next slide. Yep, that's the one. All right. So first of all 87 counties are aging. And I want you to know that every person in every county is aging at the same rate. So there are, anybody is not left out of this. The population pyramid over the last few years has become inverted. So those of you who are older will remember the population pyramid looked like this, where all the baby boomers were at the bottom, and there were very few people at the top. But over the next few years, that becomes inverted. All right, so that we're soon to have more people 65 years or older are surpassing all the school-age kids. So while the county in the past has been putting all their efforts into children, it's very likely that the counties will have mandates in the future to look at people that are 65 years of age and older. And currently, the state does not have a strategic plan for that, and that's one of the reasons why you need a subcabinet on healthy aging. Seniors contribute $154 billion to the state GDP. So there's another reason to take care of them. And they make up a significant portion of the workforce. They still do. You can look down the table here and see some of us over 65 that are still contributing. And they're the largest volunteer group, not only in our state, but other states. If you can go to the next one. And so basically what state of Minnesota, as well as other states, need to do is rethink about the culture of aging. The population will age till the end of the century. Now, many people think that, well, it's the baby boomers, but that's not true. The millennials are even larger than the baby boomers. So about the time that the end of the baby boom is there, the millennials come in, and the aging population continues then till the end of the century. And the demographic reality calls for rethinking. All right, the next slide, please. Yeah. So the coordination of the state efforts are going to have to be to coordinate everything that currently is siloed, as in the State Department has little departments dealing with this issue and this issue and this issue, but aging combines all of them, and it's very unlikely that they can do it as long as those services remain siloed. So And, you know, I also did a study here on Olmsted County, and I talked to Health, Housing, and Human Resources, and this came out from our own staff that these would be the things that they would need if they had enough money, and if they had a state plan, and if they had the staff to do that. So it's, because the county carries these things out, the state needs the same thing. Healthcare, housing, workforce, transportation, and public health. All of those things affect the aging population. And lastly, one of the big differences on the sub-cabinet is that it gives that group of people in that sub-cabinet access to the governor, which the aging population, or those that represent the aging population, doesn't have. So thank you very much. I appreciate your attention, and now you know. And of course, this has been introduced, but it hasn't been passed, and we won't know till the end of the legislation if it actually survives.
Thank you, Greg. Dave, do you have a report?
Thank you. Just a couple of things. Commissioner Wright and I have been assigned to what we call the Minnesota Inter-County Association, and we're board members. And last Friday we met in St. Paul, and I think some of this is in the newspaper, but the legislative targets this year relative to, in particular, from the standpoint of county services in the health area and human services area, have really been cut. In other words, the legislature proposes to pass on to counties obligations that they heretofore otherwise funded. And if you just look at the health budget in the upcoming biennium, which is 26 and 27, it's being proposed a cut of $50 million, which, of course, spread across the state, but still is a lot of money. And likewise, in the human services area, it's being the proposed cut is $300 million, which is significant and will certainly affect counties across the state. And then if you pass that on to the next biennium, and there's always, we call them tails, the health budget proposed passing on, if you will, is up to $175 million on the health side, but $1 billion on the human services side. And that is very, very profound. So from the standpoint of counties going forward, this is something that is not good news, and we need to pay attention to it. We're going to have to address.
Thank you, Dave. Michelle?
No report.
Okay. Brian? No report. Bob?
No report.
Okay. All right. Well, before we close, I got a couple things. One, I just want to take a minute to remember, if you've served in elected office long enough, you've probably seen Jeff Broberg come in front of us. And on March 29th, Jeff announced that he had pancreatic cancer, and and he died on Sunday.
Gosh, really?
And so I think it's fine for us just to remember that, you know, Jeff was always very knowledgeable. There's really nobody more knowledgeable about hydrogeology in southeast Minnesota than Jeff Broberg, and he spent his whole career working to protect the environment, at the same time being common sense about allowing progress to happen. He started the Minnesota Well Owners Organization that's advocated for clean water. That's kind of worked hand in hand with some of the work that we've done to protect the groundwater. So I just want to take a public moment to recognize that Jeff is no longer with us. So, okay. All right. I hope this doesn't sound crass, but my quote is from Will Rogers, and he says, "The only difference between death and taxes is that death doesn't get worse every time Congress meets." So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
We'll be adjourned.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Long day.
It does. Yep.
That was